And here we go. I have been sitting here trying to write out a script, and we're just doing it. If you've been following along, if you're new to my channel, or if you're one of the originals here with me over the years as I've been piecing it together little by little, you know that I have decided to show up and bring you my tips on artful aging, the 4 pillars of artful aging, which are voice, visibility, wisdom, and wealth. So why am I turning on the camera and speaking without much preparation? Because voice and speaking skills, finding our story, showing up, taking up space is so critical to the experience of being a woman in her 40s, 50s, and 60s. And because it's my belief that women and other people with marginalized identities of all kinds need to find our stories and find the guts and find our voice and tell our stories. That if we want to make money, if we want to make friends, if we want to make a difference, we must speak up. Women are one of the most underutilized, precious resources that our culture has available to it, which is why I started a podcast 3 years ago and was regular with it. Created 132 episodes of interviews and speaking skills tips and my own thoughts as I developed and found my own voice. On the way to finding my own voice, I love amplifying the voices of other amazing women. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I know incredible women. So when it came to interviewing women about their superpower, I had a lot of people to choose from. And thank goodness many people gifted me with their time. During COVID, I paused on my podcast. And while I'm getting ready to do another season of interviews and of episodes of the Superpower You podcast, we're taking it to YouTube. I'm here, I'm committed. I'm interested in knowing what kind of content you would like. I have a long list of plans, but I also noticed that there are a couple of things that stop me from showing up and taking up space and speaking up. Before I tell you what they are, it's important to point out that women are often hesitant to take up space. Women are often hesitant to speak up. And there are so many reasons why this is true. But a couple of the things that I notice in myself, even though I have done a lot of work on developing my skills and on finding my courage and getting comfortable with the vulnerability hangover that often shows up after speaking, even still, I notice myself getting in my own way. And so I want to talk about the things I think are most often in my way when it comes to just turning on the camera and making this channel happen. The first one is perfectionism. I'm going to guess that you might know what I'm talking about. That's the part of ourselves that wants to get it exactly right, that wants to find the perfect word, that wants to make sure that my message comes out in the way that I think it should, that wants to make sure my face looks okay and my hair is brushed, which it is not, that wants to make sure everything in my background is presented just so. All the ways we want to be perfect get in our way so much. The second thing that gets in my way is procrastination. Procrastination is the sister to perfectionism. When I am afraid that I'm not going to get it exactly right, when I'm afraid that I'm not going to do a good job, or when I feel the simple fear of being too exposed, it's really easy to procrastinate. It's always possible to find something that is easier to do than taking the risk. There's always something that comes more easily. And so I've decided that I'm going to grab the bull by the horns and jump in to challenge my perfectionism by making the commitment right here and right now to do a post daily. Ideally, that post will be one post on TikTok and one post on YouTube. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break and say that if I make one post, I've met my goal. One of the central tenets of habit design says that if you do something repeatedly for enough days, it becomes ingrained in your body. It becomes a habit that you integrate. And some of the benefits of doing something over and over and over again is that you'll get better. And I know that experience from doing my podcast. The first episodes took so much work, and I had to stay up all night more times than I like to remember. But by the time I got to 30 or 40 episodes, I had a path, I had a process, I had a template that I often followed. And so it became that much easier. Now, I'm not going to say it was easy. Doing something consistently is challenging, but it became easier. And so my intention with committing to daily posts is that I get over my fear, that I get over the belief that I am not going to do a good enough job of it, that I get over the tendency to procrastinate rather than create. Which reminds me, I am asking you to hold me accountable. If you are willing to come back and see if I posted something, if you are willing to give me some ideas about what kind of content you'd like to see around the 4 pillars of artful aging: voice and speaking skills, finding our story and sharing it. If you have ideas or questions around the second pillar of artful aging, which is visibility. And by visibility, I mean fashion and beauty and skincare and presence and embodiment and dance. I mean, all the ways that we have available to us to take up space and to participate in life in ways that our cultural narrative doesn't always invite us to do. Like finding our voice and telling our stories, taking up space and being present in our bodies with all of ourselves is not always welcome. So it's on us to say, I'm here, and to celebrate each other, to link arms with each other, and to celebrate all the ways that we can and we must take up space because it's fun, because it's creative, and because it's part of changing the narrative. The third pillar of artful aging is wisdom. The wisdom of women in the second half of life is well known. In fact, it's iconic. In fact, it's the thing that we have to push up against and say, don't put us in the small box. Know that we are more than just a wise crone. That's not to say that our wisdom isn't important. And wisdom includes all of the ways that we grow our ability to understand the nuances of life and death and the progress that we experience, going from what Ani DeFranco says, for the time in between my mom and some maggots. Wisdom is understanding the subtleties of what it means to be human. It means understanding and deepening into how our strengths and how being positive towards ourselves and to each other is a gift to the world and is a beautiful way to live life. Wisdom is all the ways that we live collaborative lives rather than competition. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on the 4th pillar of artful aging as well, and that's wealth, because women need more money. I believe more money in the hands of more women now, because women need choice, because women require and deserve parity and equity, because we need to change the patterns that our patriarchal culture has set up for us that harms not only women, but also men and children and all the people in between. So I'll be talking a lot about wealth, how to earn it, how to attract it, how to change our mindset around it, how to manage it and grow it and invest it, and how to create a legacy with it, and how to use it well. So those are some of the topics I plan to speak about: voice, visibility, wisdom, and wealth, as well as the 4 pillars of artful aging that are intended to change the narrative on how we see aging through optimizing everything about ourselves, through reinventing ourselves at all times, through rebranding the stories around aging, and through gracious acceptance. So if you're willing to support the channel, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe, if you'd click the notification bell, or if you'd like to make a comment below. And finally, as I jump into committing to 30 days of published content, I'd invite you to think about a habit that would change the trajectory of your skill set in your life, something that you might be procrastinating on or being stopped by your own perfectionism. And I'd invite you to take on your own 30-day project. Is there something that if you did every day could change things for you and could build skills in ways that you wouldn't otherwise if you didn't take it on and create a habit out of it? If you'd like to join me, post it in the comments. I'll check in with you to see how you're doing with your 30-day project. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Lisa Lacroix. This is the Artful Aging channel, and we'll see you next time.